Welcome to the Actionable GTM podcast. Every week we discuss two growth opportunities with a new guest. This week we are joined by Filippo Irdi, demand generation and growth lead at OrderChamp. Filippo, what does OrderChamp do and how did you end up in your current growth lead function?
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Jules. Yeah, so OrderChamp is a marketplace that recently launched a software solution to manage wholesale B2B commerce. So it's sort of a Shopify for B2B. So you can build your B2B commerce platform with our software. And I ended up there because I started working in marketing a few years ago. Now it's almost 10 years. I built my own company first. It was in the e-commerce space. And then I started getting into advertising and understanding how Facebook, it was called Facebook still at the time, Facebook advertising worked, start creating content to drive traffic to the website of my own company. Then a few years later, I closed the company and I got a job offer by a scale up in the Netherlands. And from there, one thing's led to another. Did a little bit of consulting first. Now I'm there since a few months, and it's been really cool so far.
In our previous chat, you also mentioned something about LinkedIn ads, and they have quite some
Yeah.
experience in there. You've actually
Yeah.
spent more than 1 million on LinkedIn ads. How does your process currently looks like when you would potentially create a new LinkedIn ad campaign?
Yeah, so typically what I do is try to understand first what is the ICP of a company. Maybe it's worth explaining what ICP means. It means ideal customer profile. So once you understand what your ICP is, you can then build a list of people that you want to advertise to. So let's say that your software is something that is useful for CM. Then you build a list of companies that you want to reach. This is your total addressable market. And LinkedIn is a great platform because it gives you the opportunity to target exactly name by name the people that you want to target, as opposed as Facebook, for example, where you have to target an interest, but you don't know what's inside that category that Meta gives you. Once you have a total addressable market, a list of companies that you want to target to, or a list of contacts, you can then start creating the ads. Typically, you want to create ads that tell a little bit of a story. So, what is the pain point that you're solving? What is the benefit of using your software? Is there social proof? So, do you have testimonials? So you build a little bit of a story with these ads that convey your message and tell about your value proposition, why they should pick you, and this becomes your 24-hour sales agent that tells your pitch over and over to all of your total addressable market. In B2B, typically, it's really hard to convince people to buy with an ad, but being there all the time when they choose to go in market for a software, you'll be top of mind, and you want to be there when they understand that they have a problem, they need a solution, they become solution aware, so they go in search mode for your software. So this is a little bit the process of setting up ABM strategy. Once that is done, there is another part, which is the reporting. So what you look at, and typically what I look at is qualitative signals of engagement. So do the right people visit your website? Do they click your ads? Do they engage with your ads? There is a really nice report on LinkedIn ads, which is engagement by companies. So you can see maybe company X had this amount of impression, they click on a few ads, they went on your landing page, maybe they even check the pricing, and based on what they did, you can create some triggers that then push someone else maybe to call them. If someone spends 10 minutes on your pricing page, then go on your demo page, but don't book a demo, maybe it's good to give them a call. And in this way, you create an infrastructure where you push advertising, tell your story, but also capture the intent of the prospect, and then you or sales or whoever can act on it.
And then there's directly this integration with HubSpot, I suppose, when, for example, all these parties come to your website.
Yeah, so it depends. You set up the LinkedIn campaign, and then what I typically do is use IP reveal tool. There are plenty out there. One is Lead Info, but there is more Snitcher. There are a lot of these tools, so that when people go to your website, you see who they are, and you can understand if they match the profiles, first of all, that you want to target, and second, that you're targeting on LinkedIn. Once they go on your website, you can, in all of these tools, you can set up some actions that then automate something in your CRM. It doesn't matter if it's HubSpot or Monday.com or Notion. Typically, they have these integrations, and then it's up to you to decide which trigger you want to activate to maybe respond to something. Just to make this a little bit more concrete with an example, imagine that I push LinkedIn ads on company X. They go on my website, they see the pricing page, they look at a case study, and they then go on the demo page. What I would do then is trigger something that makes my LinkedIn profile connect with them on LinkedIn without even sending a message. Just make sure that we're connected on LinkedIn. Make sure that when I like the post of the company, they see it. They are now my connection, and this way you can build a little bit of an automated follow-up to the ads, basically.
And then actually they come into your nurturing funnel. So
Yeah,
the moment
exactly.
that they went to your website.
Yeah.
And how does that current, like if for example you would need to set up this nurturing funnel for a new startup that has as ICP marketing directors of a B2B a SaaS company, how would you potentially start design this nurturing funnel?
So yeah, I would create first a layer of cold advertising. So this campaign that we spoke about on LinkedIn, let's say, of course, it depends on what problem this startup solves. Let's say that this startup solves reporting. The first thing is to educate these customers about the problem that they have. Tell them that they're missing out if they don't do reporting correctly, and create a story about that. Then create a second layer of advertising, which is not cold targeting. So it's not people that see the ads for the first time, but it's maybe retargeting with some social proof. So tell them that there are other companies that are successful with your solution. And then the last thing is just the last push, create a book a demo, add something that is call to action that make them see that you're approachable, there is people behind the company. You just need to book a free call, a free consultation, and then can explain the value. And this could be, let's say, the first layer of advertising you set up. People that see this ad over and over, like, I mean, this is not enough for them to buy, right? They want to go on your website. They want to maybe see that you are the matter expert. So to build on top of that, you then have to create thought leadership content, create maybe tutorials or tips.
Would
So
you
that
use these as well as an advertising? Like purely put it into an advertising, for example, that I'm a thought leader in something, or like these tutorials, you would make it into an advertising, or would you put it on the individual profiles of the people that connect with them on LinkedIn?
So I would do, I mean, you can do both. I think personal branding on LinkedIn is really, really powerful because at the end of the day, people buy from people. If you see something that is published by a company page, it's way less engaging than something that maybe an old colleague publishes, right? So I typically try to, when you set up a thought leadership playbook, is always with people. So pick a topic of expertise, start writing about it, then the advertising is your pitch. But if you also connect to the right people, they will see your pitch as an ad, but then also the organic content that you create as thought leader that could be about, yeah, the problem they're trying to solve. You want to build trust by explaining that you understand that problem really, really well.
And then, for example, you would indeed try to put it on people's their profiles, so there's a face behind it. Hey, and also, if you take a step back and we zoom in a little bit again on LinkedIn ads specifically, what do you see as like major mistakes that people make when they create LinkedIn ads?
Yeah, I think I'll give you two. One is very tactical, a very small thing, but you waste a lot of budget with it. So, one is a lot of people forget to tick off the audience expansion tick box on LinkedIn. So when you set up a campaign, there is a small checkbox. And if it's checked, LinkedIn basically expand the audience beyond you tell them to do. Never do that because you have no control over who you're targeting. And of course, LinkedIn has also interest in spending your budget. And this is a very tactical one. And then a more strategic one is make sure that the ad you push or you promote is not we are the best, buy from us, but is more explaining the problem, show case studies, show who is the people that they're gonna speak with when they do a demo. And I think these are the main things. Have your targeting right and have your story, your narrative right.
And then also very consistent about explaining the problem. Then the next advertisement would be about the benefit that you could offer, and then potentially a third one to potentially convince them to buy from your company to have social proof in there, for example, some testimonials.
Exactly.
And then initially we got all these website visitors. Do you also have the option to retarget LinkedIn visitors? Do you have the option to retarget, for example, people that engage with LinkedIn posts of employees? Are there these options as well?
Yes, retargeting, it's super important. You can retarget in many ways. One is, I mean, the most common one is retargeting people that go on your website. But that, if you do an ABM, sometimes you don't have enough volume to do that. Another thing that you can do is retarget people that saw one ad. So you can create a layer of ads that people see only after they saw the previous ad. And this is, for example, when you're trying to build a story, you can just show different ads and then make the people connect the dots. This works really well. In terms of retargeting people that engages with employees, so you can do a thought leadership ads, or you need some third parties tools to do that. LinkedIn is not always super happy about that when you scrape profile and target them, but there are ways to do that as well.
What is your favorite third-party LinkedIn tool they use right now?
I think Expandi, it's a good one. And it's a good one. There's also Phantom Buster, which is pretty cool. There is plenty. It's typically, yeah, I think also sometimes it's also good to have a Google Sheet and have a list of things to do and just do it manually. That's also fine from time to time. But yeah, I would say Expandi. It's pretty good. It's expensive, but it's good.
But it's worth the value, worth the price.
Yeah, it depends. It depends where your audience is. Is your market super saturated on LinkedIn, or is it a blue ocean kind of market? So it really depends on the market. But there are ways to validate campaigns very quickly and understand whether that's worth.
And then the final question about posting on LinkedIn. Is it true that there are specific time slots that just work better than other time slots? Or is it just one big myth?
Well, I think it's interesting because I think that the answer to this question is, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I read LinkedIn maybe in the morning when I on my way to work and then before lunch. Sure, different people have different habits. Of course, if you publish something in a very weird slot or Friday afternoon when everyone is disengaged, then it's not gonna work. But I think that consistency beats trying to hack the algorithm 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So it's way better to pick a time slot, do it before you say it doesn't work, just do it 52 times in a year, and then you can maybe optimize something. But the first optimization is never the time slot, is always the content and the consistency, I think.
Yeah, so that's like really just optimizing a potential
Yeah.
optimum that you have, but you don't really know like in which kind of optimum you are. Maybe you're in the
Yeah.
local optimum, maybe you're in the global optimum one.
If you hope that picking the right spot will make you grow faster and you will be able to explode in 2 months, that's the wrong approach. I don't think that works.
But that's good to know. Then I will not try to optimize any specific time slots when I post. So I just need to consistently post about something
After
becoming
you're
thought leader in
consistent,
it.
of course, do it. Like check your previous posts, see which one worked better. But
Yeah, great to hear. Thanks for sharing all these insights.
thank you.
Rapid fire of some questions. If you could
Yes.
pick one channel, which one would you choose? And maybe you're a little bit biased on this one.
Yeah. I would choose probably, I think there is a lot of exciting thing happening in SEO or AEO, how now some people call it. So new stuff. So I would definitely choose that one.
Because potentially it's still undersaturated and you would always like to look for the channels that are undersaturated.
Yeah, that's a good reason. It's also very exciting what is happening with AI, and there are always new ways to try to sneak in your results into a language model. Reddit plays a big role, and the Reddit community is very, very rough with they don't like advertising, which I also think is challenging and really cool. So yeah, this is probably what I would go for.
AEO. And then what is the biggest misconception about growth?
I hate the word growth hacking because it feels like you're hacking something, and I think it sets the wrong expectations. I think that growth comes from great products and great content, and you can hack distribution sometimes, but yeah.
But if,
not
for
not
example, you need
really.
to find a specific play, then always pick the product over the distribution, because the distribution will work the moment that there is a great product in place. You can try to hack the distribution play, but if there is not a great product in play, then potentially you have
Exactly.
high churn as well. So then it is not really worth it. And then final question, if you would restart your growth journey, what would you do differently, Filippo?
I would probably try to get into consulting a little bit earlier in the journey because I learned so much. And instead of starting by building a company, I would probably do a couple of working experiences first and then maybe try to start a company with these learnings. Also, I would probably, my absolute favorite books about growth is Lean Analytics, because I did a lot of mistakes at the very beginning of, I mean, I still do and I still will do, but a lot of mistakes I did at the beginning of my careers. When I read that book, they were all written in there. And I was like, if only I could have read this like 2 years ago, it would have been great. So I would probably read that.
Thanks for sharing that one. I'm definitely going to order it so I don't need to make these mistakes.
It's a really
So I
good
can
book.
prevent it. Great. Filippo, thank you very much for joining the podcast. It was a pleasure having you, and thanks
Thank
for
you.
sharing all the insights. All right?
Thanks. Thank you,
Let's stay in
Jules.
touch.
Yeah, bye
Bye
bye.
bye.